obviously, one thing I did want to ask, which you were just about to touch on there as well, was finding a factory for production. Did you, first and foremost, actually, did you start by making your own iterations of fighter shots at home?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what we've started doing with our with my co-founders.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the first I think month we were literally like in the kitchen, both making sure that the recipe is good, and second, like also costing it. So literally would be like weighting all the ingredients, and researching the cost to make sure that like it all makes sense, but also has the benefit we want it to have. So yeah, the recipe I think took us like, it was full-time 1 month work. Yeah, and we came, I think, 3 products, 3 SKUs we had, but different SKUs. It was only the ginger that that was original, that stayed, that until now has the same recipe. The others came later on as people were asking. So people were asking like, oh, you're doing ginger, why don't you do turmeric? I was like, oh, but there is already, I thought, enough turmeric on the market. We're like, no, we want to buy turmeric from you. So we added, for example,
where were these customers reaching out to you to give you feedback? Because obviously you started off in your kitchen or London Business School, wherever it was, to identify which iterations you were going to go for. Did you then approach farmers markets first?
Yeah, no, we were not ever selling at farmers markets, really. We've just, ask friends, really. And, again, I wanted to make a product, I'll be myself happy with. So as soon as I felt like, yeah, this is a product I want to, drink myself every day, we kind of got, a little bit more confident. And I think the first customer was actually in the office. So it was a friend who said like, oh, once, you have this product ready, just, ship it to me. We'll test it in the office. So it was actually a friend that helped us, because he has ordered, I think, like, just very small number, like maybe 50 shots or maybe 100 shots, to his office. And then he asked, people to send us, feedback. So and these people didn't know that was literally just our first order. So they thought like, it was like some, established brand maybe. And they didn't know really like who they are really sending this to, because they were sending it through that friend. So basically they've given us like feedback, and actually the feedback was pretty good. They were like, some were saying like, yeah, I would buy it, or like, I'd like to have it in my office, whatever. So we just got confident, and having like, this first, paying customers, I then, took kind of some risk and just like decided, to produce it like on a bigger scale.
No way. So you just went straight for it. There was no staggered approach. It was just, right, what the hell? No, that's amazing. That's amazing.
No, it was just, actually, I felt like, if I want to be serious with this business, I can't like, do things myself. Like, it would be just, as I said, like, it wasn't ever my passion, like, to cook and like, to be in the kitchen all day. I literally kind of, wanted to scale as soon as possible. And it wasn't, a huge cost really, or huge risk either, because I've asked before, like, some friends, I was like, what if I produce like, this number of shots and no one wants to buy? And everyone was like, oh, just give it to us, like, we'll consume. So kind of, knowing that, some people, it's not, something that like, you're like piece of tech, right? You're like investing so much money and then no one might use it. I knew that like, it's a food product, like, it will be eaten, it will be drunk. So, and I thought like, actually back then I also didn't know what is the shelf life, but I thought I can freeze it also, it can be easily frozen. So it's good indefinitely, I'll have like maybe shots for my life, So I thought like, I'm gonna like spend this few thousand. It wasn't that much, I found this very small factory in Scotland.
Okay.
I think the minimum order was like 5,000 shots. So again, it's not huge, amount. And so yeah, I've ordered from them 5,000 shots, and literally I've sold it like within a week, maybe.
Before we go into how you sold it, what was your so essentially what was your can I ask what were your initial costs in terms of obviously getting it produced on a mass scale? What, 5,000?
Yeah, the 5,000 was a few, but obviously there is like, some fixed costs, they always like charge you a little bit more for the first run. And also because, it's pretty small quantity, then all the ingredients were a little bit more expensive. Now obviously I have like, different suppliers for everything, literally.
So realistically, if someone wants to scale up, how much do you reckon they should save up?
Again, I don't know if you need to even have any money. Later, I realized, if you have a good business and you're good at convincing people, you can like find investors. There is also, loans. So if you really believe in something, I don't think, you need more than a few thousand, to prove the concept, to just sell anything and show, okay, people are wanting to buy, and this is my, way forward, and this is what I want to do. So if someone buys into this idea, I think, there would be enough money, on the market to help you with this. But in these terms, I think it didn't even put that much money up front. It was literally maybe the production run, which was all together with like, me going and visiting, for a few days, the factory in Scotland, and again, overpaying for all the ingredients because, the ingredients were so expensive, was maybe like £5,000, which again, it's okay. I think the biggest cost was literally my time, because at the same time, I could have been earning money, which I haven't. So I would say the biggest cost was actually my time.
Okay. And what was your process in finding a factory in the first place? Because obviously I imagine was it just a case of calling as many as possible and finding who would be able to give you a realistic minimum production?
Yeah. So basically, if you want to sell the product, through like viable channels, your product has to be SALSA qualified, certified. SALSA is like, one of the certifications for food. And there is a website directory where you can go in, and for any business, you can check whether they are SALSA certified or not. So basically, I went on that website and have called, I think, almost all of the factories that had the certification in the UK. And you'd be surprised, it was so difficult, because some of them would tell me, oh, we don't do juice at all because juice is contaminating, our production line. We only do like water-based drinks. Or for example, so we're telling me back then, I didn't even know what was my juice supplier. So I couldn't answer that question. They were like telling me, if it's not organic, we'll not process it at all because we are just, organic certified and we will not do anything else. Then some were telling me, oh, we can't do glass, we only do plastic bottles. So some told me like crazy, amount of, MOQs, minimum order quantities, which I also like said, for our first run, I don't want to buy like 100,000, right? So I was basically like going through the list and kind of, just like, going one by one. And it was like from everywhere, I was like, no. And then I found this factory in Scotland, which actually at the beginning, they also said, and the size was also a problem because my product is 60 milliliters and I wanted to definitely keep it 60. And they would be like, oh, our minimum, bottle machine is like 250, can only fill 250 at a minimum. So that was an issue as well. And the factory in Scotland, actually at the beginning, they also told me we might not be able to do this. But then actually they said, okay, we'll try. Because I guess they were also new and maybe they wanted to try kind of, if this product works, and they might invest in the machinery. So they decided to take it, although I think they were mostly doing it manually, the filling. So that was funny too. Yeah.
Did you witness that? Did you go up and see them actually doing that?
Yeah, they had like a very small, it wasn't like a professional, big machinery. That was like just for filling miniatures, like, kind of, a very small dosing machine that they had. But basically, like, it was taking forever. That's why also I stopped working with them because their cost, their cost was also, they told me like needs to be, higher because they just don't manage to fill that many bottles, in the time they were planning for. So they just couldn't, carry on with that product. And at the same time, I already had, after a few runs with them, my volumes went up, so they couldn't cope with them. Okay. So then I could factories, yeah.
So because you've moved over to London now, aren't you? You're in, are you in Northwest London or are you in Essex? I can't remember. It was one of them.
Tottenham.
You're
so
North London. Yeah. Okay, I was wrong on both. And so in essence, you've now moved it obviously down production down here as well. So that means obviously food miles are significantly shortened. Freight cost is obviously significantly less. Your time is as valuable as it is. It means you don't have to go up to Scotland. Where in Scotland was it, by the way?
Port Glasgow.
Bloody hell, that's a mission. And so, and so in Tottenham, what did you have to scale up production to enable you to be able to move to Tottenham?
So I think the minimum production with them was like 10,000 units.
Okay.
That was the test run. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And you, what are you up to now?
So we just produced 40,000 last week.